Exclusive video to show us tonight. Walk us through what you've seen.
Well, this investigation is certainly focusing on what appears to be a rivalry confrontation between two different fraternities. And we're learning tonight that this may have started just off campus before spilling onto campus. In fact, the court documents we're seeing right now show that this is Franklin Avenue that you see right behind me, this street. It may have started just off of Franklin Avenue and then spilled over and started with a verbal confrontation that eventually led to gunshots. Police appear to be concentrating on the fraternities themselves. In fact, we want to show you that exclusive video now. We were there, the only camera to show police going through one fraternity house, serving a search warrant. They pulled out a number of bags apparently containing evidence and what also appeared to be paddles with the Greek letters from the fraternity on them. We've also learned that police recovered a car possibly belonging to the suspect, parked in the Mountain View Residence Hall parking garage. That Mountain View Residence Hall is the building that you see just behind me here. And that car will be the key to this case. Whether the suspect ran to the car and then ran all the way back to shoot those four people, or whether he was chased there and, as he claims, acted in self-defense. Meantime, from the scramble of the investigation here to the moments tonight where students shocked by this were finally able to take a moment and slow down, band together, and then really soak in the love and the support all around them. ABC 15's John Erickson is live after two different vigils tonight. And John, we were there witnessing it all, and I've never seen such a thing.
Steve, so much has changed in 24 hours here on campus. It started early this morning with startling gunfire, those shots ringing out here on campus. It's ending with startling silence, a vigil where students remembering the four victims.
He's in the center of the hug because he's still alive. He's one of the victims of the NAU shootings. And as his friends try to hold him close, it hurts. His wound still so fresh. And while there is a bandage for the body, there isn't one for what so many students here are suffering.
It broke my heart. And I think it broke the heart of a lot of students here to see that he came out here tonight and he showed support for his fellow brothers that were lost and that are currently injured and still in the hospital.
After the speakers were done, it was so quiet. Just wax running down candles, just tears running down cheeks. That is, until the four victims' fraternity filled that silence.
Let our voices mingle in strains that set our hearts aglow, in songs that set our hearts a tingle.
Every note in their song, every flame in this crowd, a goodbye to Colin. He looked happy, didn't he? If ever a brotherhood has been needed, it's right now.
It was amazing just how close this campus came together. The student body president saying that this is what they needed tonight. Again, their hearts are broken. They're hoping for a swift recovery for the three surviving victims. You saw one of them there at the vigil. Of course, their hearts are even more broken for the one who will not be coming back, Steve.
Thanks so much, John. And of those hundreds of people at that vigil, the vast majority of them members of NAU's fraternities and sororities coming together to lean on each other. And remember Chris Brew, that 18-year-old freshman who was killed in the shooting. The fraternity brothers from Delta Chi, all wounded, and their leaders calling on them to lean on each other.
We are one family at 7,000 feet. We carry each other through the good times and most definitely through the bad times.
Now, we should say we tried to speak to a number of people off that vigil there, all of them telling us that they have been told by their chapter presidents not to speak to the media. Certainly the Greek community here at NAU tonight appears to be closing ranks. Meantime, we're looking at the frantic calls for help surfacing just within the last couple of hours. The first time we hear the raw emotion that we saw in so much of our video and hear those panicked voices talking through the tears. ABC 15's Nohelani Graff has been going through the 911 tape, and Nohe, dispatchers here really the only comfort for all of these people calling so desperately for help.
And Steve, you're going to hear some of them are speaking so quickly, you just know it's because they're in shock. We're also hearing from a parent through social media, their daughter right there when it happened, her boyfriend, one of the victims. They say he was shot helping their friends as the shooter apparently fell to the ground for just a second. These calls came in the moments that followed. A shocking wake-up call.
3 shots, probably a minute break, and then 2 more shots.
Bullets fired in the night.
The guy outside and he's shooting people.
Students leaping out of bed in the Mountain View dorm.
I'm looking out my window. There's someone on the ground.
Stunned by the chaos they see unfolding.
People are screaming, call an ambulance.
I just heard gunshots, and I just see people running down in the parking lot.
Others having to run for cover before calling for help.
He's yelling right now. There's people on the ground.
One caller, you can only imagine, was right there, watching the unthinkable, unable to say more than someone was shot, as hysterical cries take over. According to family, Nick Prado's girlfriend called 911, already holding one friend as she watched him get shot before running for her life.
My son is alive, and he is doing well, considering he had a gunshot wound to his neck.
Prado's mom rushing from California to be by her son's side.
Still 2 of his best friends in the hospital.
Nick Peering, who friends say was shot twice, and Kyle Zientek, the other survivors, alive but left with scars that may never heal.
I thank everybody for their prayers.
Counseling services are being offered again on campus tomorrow at the Health and Learning Center. There's also an information line set up for parents. All of that information is on abc15.com. Steve?
And no, hey, we've heard from so many students today who say they got dozens and dozens of calls from family and relatives as this story spreads clear across the country, just wondering if they were okay. NAU has a campus alert system, much like ASU and the U of A. It's designed to send a massed text message to all of the students in the event that there is a threat on campus. But we're learning today that emergency alert system didn't exactly work as planned. In fact, we're learning somebody handling the system actually clicked a wrong box, and that cut off more than 14,000 alert users from seeing the text that there was a shooter on campus. In fact, only 700 got the initial message just after 1 this morning, and it wasn't until close to 3, about 90 minutes later, that all users finally got the alert that a suspect was in custody.
The individual, the police dispatch needed to check a box. All of this was rectified very quickly, but this was a dynamic, developing situation, and that's what they did. Yes.
Meantime, we're still staking out the hospital at this hour, Flagstaff Medical Center, and waiting for updates on the conditions of Nicholas Prato, Kyle Zientek, and Nicholas Piring. Court documents do indicate that at least one of those individuals is still in critical condition, but because this is a crime, the hospital is not releasing a lot of information. We do know that Nicholas Piring released a statement that was read in court today. Piring is one of 2 of those victims from the Valley area. In fact, he is from Chandler, but obviously the investigation still continuing tonight. What really precipitated this and exactly what happened, because there are a lot of differing accounts at this hour. Meantime, students here just trying to get back to normal. Classes went on as scheduled today. There was a soccer game played here tonight, and we're told by NAU officials that classes will resume as normal coming up on Monday, guys.
Yeah, it's such a new kind of normal after this unfortunate and heartbreaking tragedy. Steve, thank you so much. Meantime,